Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into something that's absolutely crucial if you want to sound like a local. We're unlocking German numbers and the incredible power of the verb haben, which means to have. Look, if you've ever felt totally overwhelmed by those notoriously long German words or kind of lost in the grammar, take a deep breath. We're going to break this down. Mastering just a few super logical building blocks is literally a game changer. It instantly unlocks your ability to handle real-world conversations. By the time we wrap up, you'll be handling prices, counting like a pro, and dodging the most common traps that catch new learners off guard. So let's jump right in.
So, what's the deal with German numbers? At first glance, counting up to 13 might just seem like standard memorization, right? You've got ein, zwei, drei, and so on. But take a really close look at the word for 13. 13. What's actually going on there? Well, German numbers are brilliantly logical. 13 is literally just the word for 3, drei, squished together with the word for 10, 10. 3 plus 10. It's math! Once you see that German vocabulary is essentially built like mathematical formulas, the whole language transforms into this giant, fun puzzle that's actually pretty easy to solve.
All right, Section 1. The foundation, numbers 1 through 19.
Now, to really lock these into your brain right out of the gate, let's look at some phonetic memory hacks. Take the number 3, dry. It sounds exactly like the English word dry. You know, imagine being so parched you could drink 3 whole glasses of water. Dry, dry. For 4, wir, just remember that in German, a V actually makes an F sound, making it sound like fear. Think of it as 4 fingers, fear nothing. And for 7, sieben, just picture lucky number 7, but hit it with a big, drawn-out Z at the start. Sieben. Tying these back to English sound-alikes just instantly builds confidence.
Of course, as you count higher, you're going to hit numbers like 5 for 5 and 12 for 12. And yeah, they use that notorious German U sound, which, let's face it, doesn't actually exist in English. But hey, don't sweat it, I've got a little mechanical trick for you. 3 steps. Step 1, say the English word see and freeze. Just hold that tongue position. Step 2, round your lips like you're about to whistle or say ooh. Step 3, keep your tongue frozen in that C position and push the air out through your rounded lips. Try it with me. Say see, round the lips, push. Boom, you just made a perfect ooh sound.
Now here's where it gets really interesting with the teens. We just learned that 14 is simply 4 plus 10, right? 14. 15 is 5 plus 10, 15. Simple, but watch out for 16 and 17. These are the rebels. 16 is 16. Notice how it drops the S from sex, and 17 is 17. It drops the N from sieben. Why? Basically, the language just drops those letters to make the whole word smoother and way faster to say.
Moving on to Section 2, the plot twist, German math. Let's lay down the rule for the tens. From 40 up to 90, you just slap on a simple zig at the end. So 4 is vier, 40 is 40, 5 is 5, 50 is 50. It is so beautifully consistent. Though, full disclaimer here, you do have to memorize 2 slight rule breakers. 20 is 20 and 30 is 30. And notice that 30 uses that unique, sharp double S letter, the S set. But okay, here comes the actual plot twist we've been building up to. In English, we always say the tens digit first, then the ones, right? Like 21. But German operates on a whole different golden rule. They say the ones digit first. So 21 becomes 21, which literally translates to 1 and 20. If you think about Old English nursery rhymes, 4 and 20 blackbirds baked in a pie, it's exactly that same concept. You just flip the order. And when you do flip these compound numbers, you mash them all together into one giant glorious word. No spaces, none, 21. Or how about 99, 99? Sure, it looks absolutely terrifying when you see a 30-letter word stretching across the page, but now you know the secret, right? It's literally just simple building blocks stacked together. The ones, the word und, and the tens. That's the whole shebang.
All right, Section 3, mastering the verb haben.
To really cement this into your memory, we're going to treat this present tense conjugation table like a rhythmic chant. I want you to kind of feel the rhythm here. Ich habe, du hast, hat, wir haben, ihr habt, sie haben. Once you lock that natural rhythm into your brain, you are never going to forget how to say I have, you have, or they have. It just becomes second nature. Now, as we went through that, you might have spotted a pretty major irregularity. I have is ich habe. Sure. But when you switch to du, the informal you, and for he, that be ending totally drops off.
It shrinks from habe to hast and hat. A really great memory trick for this is to think of it like this. The word itself literally gets shorter as the relationship gets more personal. Kinda cool, right?
Next up, Section 4, identity versus possession.
So the crucial point here is understanding the super strict boundary between what you are and what you own in German. If you're talking about your identity, like your profession, your nationality, your general state of being, you have to use the verb sein, which is to be. For example, ich bin Student, I am a student. But if you're talking about possession, something you physically own or hold, you use haben. Ich habe ein Buch, I have a book. You really don't want to mix these up because you might accidentally tell someone that you literally are a book.
And here's exactly where so many English speakers get tripped up. Take a look at these physical states: Hunger, Durst, and Angst. Thirst, hunger, and fear. In English, we use our identity verb here. We say, I am hungry, or I am afraid. But in German, no way. You don't be hungry. You have hunger. You literally hold that physical state inside you as a possession. So you have to say, ich habe Hunger, ich habe Durst, or ich habe Angst. Trust me, if you say ich bin Hunger, a German will look at you like you have two heads, because you basically just announced that you are the literal physical embodiment of hunger itself.
Let's bring this all together in Section 5, Real-World German Survival.
Let's take all this out into the wild, starting with a really surprising cultural quirk about how Germans physically handwrite numbers. If you see a handwritten German number 1, it is not just a simple straight vertical line. It actually looks exactly like an American 7, complete with a really sharp upstroke. Because of this, Germans have to draw a horizontal cross right through the middle of their actual number 7 just to avoid total chaos.
And speaking of reading prices, this perfectly highlights another mathematical culture shock. Germans completely flip commas and decimal points compared to English. Seriously, if something costs €4.50, they do not use a dot. It is written as 4,50. And it flips for the big numbers too. For 1,000, instead of a comma, they use a decimal point, 1.000. When you're managing your money over there, keeping this flip in mind is absolutely crucial.
All right, 2 more rapid-fire survival tips for your day-to-day. First up, buildings. In Germany, the ground floor is known as the Erdgeschoss. So what an English speaker would call the first floor, Germans consider the first floor above the ground floor. Basically, an American second floor is a German first floor. Confusing, but you get used to it. Second tip, tipping. When you're paying a restaurant bill, tipping isn't fully automatic or calculated as a strict percentage. Usually, you just round up the amount. And to do this smoothly, basically telling the waiter to keep the change, you just look at them and say, stimmt so. Yep, stimmt so. It's that easy.
Well, we've covered some incredible ground in this explainer today. Everything from flipped math and giant compound numbers to the quirks of haben and reading German price tags. So let me leave you with one final thought to test what you've picked up. Hast du Hunger and hast du 4,50 €? Can you mentally translate that real-world bakery scenario? Do you have hunger, meaning are you hungry, and do you have €4.50? If you understood that right away, congratulations, you have officially unlocked the foundations of German. Thanks so much for joining me, and definitely keep practicing those numbers.